Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much, much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. Let's get a whoop, whoop, whoop. It is pandemic self-care Sunday here for the Peace and Harmony viewers. We are in the midst of a lockdown pandemic global situation. I hope everyone is doing well and hanging in there. It ain't tough. It ain't easy. We just have to manage. So I hope you are adapting and adjusting well and making do. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, what does a narcissist really value? And are they ever really happy? These are great questions because it kind of are like these questions that tend to lurk in the minds when you're trying to understand and get a grip and a grasp on these things. What does a narcissist value? You have to understand that a narcissist, oftentimes, they don't know what is important. So they will mistreat what is valuable. They don't know what is important, so they will mistreat what is valuable. They don't know what's important, so in other words, and something important that can be shared, something like what we're sharing, even as something is sharing like a pandemic, they will become competitive even around that. You all have your own shared experience, your own shared adjustment and situation. Next thing you know, they're trying to flaunt that they know more. They think they know more about what happened before. They know what's happened now, later. And this is what we should do. It will never, ever, there's always going to be a disparity. It's very, very difficult. I think for a lot of people during this time, or really any time when you're trying to once you're getting through that devalue and discard stage with a narcissist, and what is it that they really value? So, just like what do you think that you value? Do you value knowledge, laughter? Do you value material things? Do you value health? Do you value freedom from pain? Do you value hugs? What do you value? So important to ask yourself, what do you value? So I would say check in with yourself first. Get to know yourself first, because the problem with narcissism, I feel, and definitely with psychopathy, is that people, rather than starting with a full cup, they start their relationship sort of feeling empty with a narcissist, or they undeliberately or unconsciously, undeliberately, empty themselves out to make room for the narcissist. So they become overly accommodating. The huge issue is if you become overly accommodating to the narcissist or a series of narcissists. Oh yeah, I can do this. Oh yeah, I can be that. Oh yeah, I can take this. Oh yeah, I can tolerate that. Oh, don't include me there. Maybe include, so you are just sort of like a boat on a, tossing on a sea. You're just a boat that's being tossed around on the high seas. You just don't know. All you're doing is, where is the waves are carrying you, i.e., in this, comparison is the narcissist. So what it is that they value oftentimes is what is going to make them look good. Always. Whether they look good with their intelligence, they look good with their hair. They might have this weird obsession with their hair, or a weird obsession with their shoulders or their abs. They'll always have, a point that they keep touching or keep talking about or keep wondering if it looks good. They will oftentimes never seem to grow out of this, perpetually immature. And it's like, so it tends to get in the way of objects of value, or really shared value, for things that can be really long-standing and important, like a relationship. Because if you wind up without a relationship, you are going it alone, and the road is a lot tougher alone, than with someone who actually is caring. But oftentimes the road can be even more difficult than going alone with a narcissist, because it makes matters worse, and oftentimes it can lead to dire straits. So, a narcissist, ultimately, do they value you? You have to know what you value first. So when you answer the question, get to know what you value. Like truly, do you value warmth? Do you value shelter? Do you value prestige? Do you value heart? Do you value mind? Do you value intellect? What do you value before you check in with the narcissist and what they value? So, because we're talking about the egoist in a previous video, and how that kind of matches up with codependency. It can be very severe, but Dr. Craig Malcolm, psychologist with Harvard, he has a nice book. I have not read it, but I do know of his work. But it's kind of like you end up becoming so accommodating to the whims, to the flurries, to whatever it is that the narcissist might drum up or surprise you with. Hey, guess what? We're doing this day trip, but I can't get ready for that. But come on anyway. I mean, pressurizing situations where they put all their needs as the situation of value. It can be a value of like getting your attention is what they value. But before we go, talking about them, I want you to, when you address these questions, I want you to also understand what, about you. People say, oh, but we'll talk about the narcissist, and everyone wants to get all angry and riled up, get punching on them, and, it feels so good, bam, bam, relax, chill out, let's just understand a few things. Is that what do you value? So knowing that, be in touch with that first, know what it is you value, and don't be giving it away, because oftentimes what it is that you value, the narcissist might value and then take, and so it can be your time. But anyway, so when a narcissist will, there's always going to be something where you have to spring up to their needs. They're going to pop something on you, surprise you with something, or the covert narcissist pop something on you and surprise you with something but not say anything. I didn't know you had this surgery. Why didn't you tell me? You have this big cut. Why didn't you tell me? This and this with your job. Why didn't you tell me? All these, just there's no communications. I mean, you cannot get blood from this stone. They are bloodless. They are communicationless. They are silent beyond the silent. You cannot yank it out of them. You can't do a song and dance, fun enough, entertaining enough to get their attention. So oftentimes they value, people attending to them in whatever means it takes to do it. So they can have covert ways to have people attend to their needs, have things very set up, neatly. And if that's the case and people want to comply with that and be that, then amen, hallelujah. I'm happy for you if you're happy. I mean, that is it. But if you are unhappy, it's because oftentimes there is not a shared value, or they're trying to sort of leech away, value out of you and shun you, make you feel embarrassed, perhaps about who you are, what you have, not acknowledge and validate it, make you feel invisible. So oftentimes they will need to go through a devaluation of you. Oftentimes it can be smack dab in your face, and just come out and say it, you're da 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 from this and this and this, or you can never, they will devalue. I mean, it'll be so up in your face that you'll be unable to react. I mean, it'll be that it can be that profound or that intense or that cruel. And so they take an unfair advantage. So oftentimes they sort of value having their own wit. They value just being able to sort of, get people's attention and then, run away with the booty. They value sort of their own ways. They value themselves pathologically above and beyond anything, meaning that they really value their own selves to the with the lack of, I think it's their mindset is that they have an insecurity, and deep inside they are unhappy, and they don't want to show that because they feel that they'll never emerge from it again. So I think the narcissist is so afraid that they don't, they can't explore or deal with those things just like everybody has to at some point in their life. Not that all of your life should be in those valley moments. You want more, what do you, top of the mountain views in your life if you can get them, amen. But oftentimes they will mistreat what is valuable or what can be valuable to them, not only for the short term, but for the long term gratification. So they oftentimes, maybe they have a difficulty with, too much short term gratification. They can't see the long term impacts or consequences for their behavior. They just want it. They want it now. They have an entitlement. They have a grandiosity. They just think, oh wow, like I can just own this road. Why do you have, 2 cars and a motorcycle and you just got another jet rocket thing? They just, and then meanwhile, you haven't, had a hug in 3 months. I mean, it's just, you will feel devalued. They will value their own, often, maybe they are very into hiding away. And so, they value sort of just being in their own retreat, which, hey, everybody has to have. Maybe that you have an office, you have a workshop, you have a man cave, a girl, a girl caveus, whatever it is you've got, that's your own space. But we're talking about in the relationship where, like, they're always absent. Like, they're just not showing up. They're just absent. Physically absent, emotionally absent, verbally, all senses. You haven't, you can't smell them for decades. You can't see them, hear them, know them in any way. I mean, so it's very difficult because then you'll feel that they're very difficult to know. I think they kind of really value having that ability to sort of shriek out of things and just sort of that kind of, not having to take responsibility. Because they just feel it's not, they don't want to injure themselves. It causes trouble to them. It causes anxiety. They feel insecure. They feel inadequate. In a narcissist, they don't want to crack that veneer. They don't want you to see something out of place. If anything, they want you to continue to tell them, yes, your house is in place. Yes, yes, it's in place. They want you to continue to reaffirm them. But meanwhile, it's removing value from you, like simultaneously. You're simultaneously propping them up and losing value of yourself. It becomes a very strange dynamic that you will know, you will feel, you'll acknowledge and validate, and you will feel something's wrong. But a lot of people, they don't know how to articulate it. They don't know how to contend and deal with the construct of this social psychology situation. I mean, it comes right down to the psychology of it. And some people think, oh, psychology is a lot of woo-woo, or you don't ever need psychology. Okay, then that's fine. But, when it comes to understanding when you're, being used and devalued at the same time, this becomes a real cognitive dissonance. Someone's keeping you around, but kicking you in the shins, and having you do things, and you just feel that you're just sort of, become, that is when people become, as Dr. Craig Malkin says, an echoist. And you don't feel valued. You just feel used because no value has been reflected back to you. But more importantly, like we said in the beginning of the video, you don't have your own values to be close enough to you, and your sense of values where you're in touch, and you might not be in touch with your values for 3 weeks because you're always attending to the narcissist. I mean, it becomes a dynamic. It becomes a habit. It becomes a habit to a certain degree, which is good. You need automatic processes. You do need, as Napoleon Hill would say, automatic suggestion. You need to harness that, I believe, and harness auto-suggestion so it can work for you, and help yourself to achieve those through priming the subconscious, like we talk here on the videos as well, to helping elicit those and helping that work that force in your life, moving providence, if you will. But I think the problem with the narcissist is that they value themselves above and beyond others, and they're not able to reflect the value that others have back to them. So they're not able to truly, genuinely appreciate and reflect through a separation. There's too much enmeshment that they, need to pull and have control over. Pulling, we're enmeshed here and I have to pull you my way, and you end up stretching yourself way out of stretch. You get way stretched out of shape. And if this is early in your life, when you should, if you have parents who are this way, and this is early in your life and you're supposed to be studying, or you've got siblings and your home life is a wrecking pot, a wrecking ball, swinging all the time, a wreck place, or whatever you call a demolition pit. Or if you're in a marriage where you feel like you're living in a demolition pit, you've got the swinging ball of the narcissist ready to come in and, knock you down one more time, and you're not, you don't want to take it. That's because you're not being in touch with what is valuable for yourself. And you have to be able to have that and then be able to address it. But to know what you're dealing, so always as you ask this question, check in with yourself first. Continue to keep your cup full, as a great family member said to me. Or as I'm establishing this morning, because I do work on these constructs and these concepts for the videos. But the narcissist is going to value what is always going to make them look good in their mind. So oftentimes it can be very superficial, very short term, not thought out, not planned out. You can be sure, though, that what you're clamoring with, what you want, maybe it's real, maybe it's genuine, maybe it's the real deal, the happy dance, and you've got a vision of that. They might not be able to match this vision, and so you might not have a shared value there. So you have to acknowledge and validate, and then the implications of what this means for the long term. Because the narcissist is going to value whatever makes them shine and makes others dull. They always need to have that one little leg up, notch up, comment up, action up. Whatever it is, they're going to build, you just built a 10-story building, theirs is 11. You just happen to add on a garden roof, which puts you at 14. They just put on another swim deck, which puts them at 21. I mean, it's this constant. It will be constant. It's a constant, trying to keep up with their values. And a lot of people say this is too much pressure. Or some people say this is great. We're doing so much. So it's all different in how you experience it. But oftentimes the narcissist is going to value something that is, important to them, but might not be solid and real for you. So you have to be very careful, because what they value might be the superficial. And not only the superficial, but literally the superficial, without heart or without empathy. And so it leaves people feeling very empty-handed and there is something wrong. And I think the construct that I was developing this morning is people end up feeling that they lost something and they don't know where it is. Rather than feeling like there's part of me missing or a bite off of me, I think people feel like they lost something, I lost my keys and I don't know where it is. It's but sometimes they feel like maybe that they lost a part of themselves, if you will, or lost a part of their future self. So it's future me, help me to find you. And, what would future me want me to do to handle this with grace, and empowerment? What would that look like? What would that feel like? And as I always say, do you want to be the Jerry Springer guest who's picking up the chair and throwing it at somebody, picking up a table, yelling, jumping off of rafters? I mean, do you want that to be you? I mean, is that who you want to be? Or do you want to say, whoa, I want to understand this. I want to do this right. I need to do this right. So you have to understand then that you need to be able to then fill in that piece that you felt was lost with your future. So you didn't lose what the feeling is, in which I'm helping to, hopefully to help people discern. I don't know if you guys are still listening, but to help you to discern and understand is that what is lost, as I was contemplating, is that the future is your future. So when you feel that part of you is lost, like this is heartbreaking, like this is gut-wrenching, like this is putting me into post-traumatic stress syndrome, I really feel it's not that you're missing something, you feel that you've lost something, like you've lost a part of yourself. And trying to articulate what that means, I think a lot of it not only is stemming from the past, but it's really about your future. And being able to have a future that you can embrace and hug and smooch and kiss and say, "Hi, future, you're so cute," or whatever it is people feel excited about their future. If you're not excited about your future and you want to be, it's like, let's go, let's do this. Like, I want to be excited about my future. Like, so if you have felt down and out and you want to be excited, like, realize oftentimes because the aftermath of the relationship, you and filling that in is realizing you haven't lost your future. Your future is still out there waiting for you. You just have to look upon it. So stop looking at the trash pile and start looking at your future, which is bright if you look at the bright side and actually put your eyes physically on it. But sometimes you have to take physical control and put your physical eyes on where is the bright side and knowing what it is you need to do, and realize that you haven't lost that future. It's about regaining the future and regaining it and starting with peace. Starting in, rather than animosity, anger, resentment, and having that fuel. Oh, that can be part of the fuel. I mean, that can be in part of the fuel, but also make sure that there's peace mixed in there too. And that's a complete circle. Anger with peace, mixed in. It's going to complete itself, and it's going to be solid. It's going to be screwed in right. It's going to be solid. It's not going to be screwed up. It's going to be nailed. It's going to be, you're going to nail it. I'm going to nail it. We're going to nail it. It's not going to be screwed up. We don't got time for that. That's not what you were put on this earth plane for. So realizing then, and then having that, epiphany, and then that whole new igniting is that passion for your future, and knowing and what that future is and what it is that you want. So actually taking time rather than just sort of going about it blindly, knowing what it is that makes you feel. I think getting at either the feel level is important in reestablishing that. Whatever it is you need to do, the people who you need to put in their place, the time of your work you need to rearrange, your sleeping, your eating, your entertainment. What do you need to rearrange some time? Do you need to clean up your act? Do you need to get up and go? You haven't lost. Your value should be running the show. You should be able to check in with your value. Make sure it's there. Do I value myself? Just checking in. Do I value, do I still believe in myself? Checking in. I mean, get frequent with that. As one girl told me, you gotta like check in with yourself if it gets really bad. You gotta check in with yourself like 100 times a minute. Whatever it takes, 200 times a minute, go rapid fire. Whatever it takes for you to get through those minutes, those moments, those hours, and making sure the value is with you and that you're feeling good, you're feeling strong, you've got this, that you're solid, it's going to come out the right way, and I'm going to ensure it, especially if you need to do some things in order to restore value, because they can take value, and just roll it, right out the shooter very quickly. So you have to be careful that you don't give into that, become too docile, too passive, or swept away by their, their egoic energy, which oftentimes can be very bossy and just tries to, plow in, parade in, and just sort of make its way, and then with disregard for you. So make sure that you're standing up and you've got that boundary, so you know what it is that you're dealing with, and you're able to restore that if that is what is needed. This is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. Hoping that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support. Peace out, peace in, and have a beautiful day. Peace be with you.